Hey, what's up you guys? Welcome back to another video. Today we are diving into 10 Pokemon from the Hoenn region with surprising sizes. Now, I know I explained this at the beginning of every video, but I gotta say it again. The Pokedex only says height, not length. So while many Pokemon in the Pokedex are probably measured for length, such as Ferret's 5'11", because the dex says height, we're taking Pokemon at their word and assuming these Pokemon really are this tall. But without any further ado, let's hop straight into this video. As usual, we are going to start this off by looking at the Hoenn starters' final evolutions. Blaziken, who comes in at 6'3" inches tall, Sceptile, who comes in at a very reasonable 5'7" inches tall, and finally we have Swampert, coming in at 4'11". Now, honestly, none of these Pokemon really surprised me in their heights. However, I also wanted to take a look at their Mega forms. And this is where things got, well, surprising for me. Mega Blaziken gets no height change. It stays 6'3". Mega Sceptile gains a bit of height and also becomes 6'3". And the shortest of the trio, Swampert, Mega evolves and gets quite a bit of height because he becomes 6'3". All of the starters Mega evolve to become the exact same height. Personally, I think that's just crazy. And coming in at the number 2 spot is Hoenn's regional bird. Swellow has always been a favorite of mine. It's one of the few Pokemon I really remember from the anime growing up. Mainly because of Winona's Swellow. It was one of the first shiny Pokemon I remember seeing in the anime, besides Ash's Noctowl. That being said, one thing I didn't remember from the anime was how small Swellow is. Seriously, Swellow is tiny at only 2'4". To give you a bit more perspective, Generation 1's bird Pidgeot is 4'11", and Generation 2's Noctowl is 5'3". Both are double the size of Swellow, and it's supposed to be the big regional bird that flies you from place to place in the games. Now the third Pokemon on this list is the mighty sumo wrestler of the Pokemon universe. Hariyama is a seriously massive 7'7" tall. Now, when I was first looking at Hariyama, I did assume it would be pretty large. I'd guessed around 6'3", since Makuhita is 3'3". Evolution doubles its size. Makes sense, right? Nope. Hariyama goes and adds an entire extra foot on top of that. I think though that really shocks me about Hariyama is that just its head itself is 2 feet tall. Its head is the same size as a Vulpix. Think about how crazy that is. Its head is massive, and I personally found that super surprising when I sat down and actually did the comparison. Now number 4 on this list, in retrospect, really shouldn't have surprised me as much as it did. Slaking. According to its Pokedex, it's 6'7", which really isn't surprising when you see pictures of it in the anime standing up. But I think for me, the reason I had such a hard time believing this is because you never see Slaking standing up. In all of its sprites over the generations, Slaking is always lying down. So it's pretty easy to forget that it's so massive when standing because we never see it. Even in the majority of the anime episodes it's featured in, it's lying down. Well, perhaps not the most surprising Pokemon on this list to the good majority of you guys, to me, it was a really big shock, which is why it makes this list. Coming in at the number 5 spot is Aggron. And Aggron looks like it would be pretty big, but according to the anime, it's on par with Charizard, who's 5'7". So, Aggron is 5'7", right? Well, according to the anime, Aggron is also taller than Mamoswine, who's 8'2". So wait, Aggron is either 5'7" or taller than 8 feet tall? How confusing is that? Now, if we actually look at its Pokedex entry, it's 6'11". So right in between these two drastically different heights. Poor Aggron, it's been led so far astray by Pokemon. It's pretty sad when Game Freak can't even consistently get a Pokemon size wrong. Swalot is decently cute considering it's nothing but a giant mouth. Swalot's pre-evolution is 1'4", so while I imagine Swalot does get a little bit bigger, I have a hard time imagining it being any bigger than 3 feet tall. Seems about right. Right? Well, Swalot is 5 foot 7 inches tall. That is the same height as me. And the anime doesn't even portray it to be all that big either, since Ash is about 5 foot 5, and it looks shorter than him. Well, clearly Swalot has the ability to stretch to make its mouth quite a bit bigger. That would still mean that, on average, they would have to measure Swalot with its mouth open all the time for its height to make sense. Which makes no sense since none of its sprites in-game have its mouth open at all. Camerupt is apparently 6 foot 3 inches tall, which honestly confuses me. While it does look like it would be pretty big, I have a hard time seeing it as bigger than a Rapidash, and the anime doesn't help with this. I was so confused by Camerupt's size, I went and watched episode 409 of the anime, First Battle, Battle Factory, where Noland has a Camerupt among his party of Pokemon. Now, this is a pretty good shot of Camerupt among some other Pokemon here, and this is where my confusion comes in. This size makes no sense. This just goes to prove that the anime has no idea when it comes to the Pokedex sizes. Of all the inconsistencies, for some reason Camerupt's bugs me more than normal. Maybe because it's supposed to be tall enough to be ridden, and yet the anime makes it out to be such a pipsqueak. Alright, speaking of size inconsistencies in the anime, let me introduce you to Flygon. Now, as a dragon type, and even though it's not a pseudo-legendary, it fits the bill, so I did assume it was a fairly large Pokemon. And according to the Pokedex, I'm right. It's 6 foot 7. So, no surprises there, right? Well, you're right until you take the anime into account. How in the freaking Furo is Flygon so big in the anime? Ash is 5 foot 5, and if you were to lay him flat against this Flygon, it would be way over 6 foot 7. But that's assuming that Flygon is 6 foot 7 in length. So let's look at its actual height then. Next to Paul, Flygon looks pretty tall, so maybe it actually is this tall in the anime. Wait. For Shuckle's sakes, why can't the anime agree on a height for Pokemon? Okay, so coming in at number 9 is actually a duo. Say hello to Latias and Latios, Hoenn's very own adorable duo legendaries. What shocks me about these two is their apparent size difference. Now, I definitely think their dex entries are based more on length and not so much height, and it's obvious just from looking at them that Latios is bigger than Latias. But, according to the dex entry, well, Latios is 6 foot 7, so maybe not that surprising. Latias, though, is only 4 foot 7. No matter how I look at it, Latias just doesn't look that much smaller than Latios. Even official Pokemon clips don't have Latias looking like such a pipsqueak. Poor Latias, it was literally dwarfed by Pokemon. Okay, so coming in at number 10 is Metagross. I think this is a Pokemon we can all agree must be a pretty decent height. According to the Pokedex, Metagross is a little bit smaller than I imagined. I usually pictured him being on par with me, so around 5 foot 7, but according to the Dex, it's only 5 foot 3. So a bit surprising, but not totally shocking. Until you look at the anime. Yeah, at this point this series should just be called The Pokemon Anime Doesn't Know Pokemon Sizes. Now, I have a couple examples from the anime of Metagross. First we have Metagross and Magnezone looking shockingly similar in size. So either this is a super-sized Magnezone or a super small Metagross. Because Magnezone, according to its Pokedex, is only 3 foot 11. So, okay, maybe another example. How about Metagross versus Tauros? I covered Tauros before, so I know it's 4 foot 11. So, Metagross should be bigger. Okay, no, wrong again. Okay, well, Ash is 5 foot 5. And James from Team Rocket has always been shown to be taller than Ash since the very first episode of the anime. So, I know at least this is consistent. So, Metagross should be smaller than Really, Pokemon? Can you at least agree that Metagross is either bigger than 5 foot 5 or smaller than 5 foot 5? Poor Metagross. This is another one that the anime has just totally ruined. Well, there you have it. 10 Hoenn Pokemon that the anime got wrong. Wait. I mean 10 Hoenn Pokemon with surprising sizes. Did any of these surprise you? Leave a like on this video or even a comment down below. And if you want to see even more Pokemon content, you can always subscribe to my channel. As always, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll catch you on the next video.